Hello, everybody. What's up? This is Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. Guys know what time it is. You guys know what's up. You guys know how we do it over here. And I am joined once again by my good friend Trey Larkins. Man, do we got a show for you guys tonight? We got a show. So pull up a chair, grab your Coke, grab your popcorn, get whatever you need to enjoy an hour of sports talk with my guy Trey and myself. What's up, Trey? How you feeling tonight, man? There's a lot that's happened in the NBA in the last 48 hours.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, Jonathan, man. I'm excited. We got the conference finals starting tomorrow night. We got
What's up, big baby?
we got Lakers, Nuggets, LeBron, AD versus Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. And then Wednesday night, we got an Eastern Conference rematch from last year, Miami Heat, Boston Celtics. I'm here for it. I'm excited about it.
You know, I'm excited about the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals. And mind you, it is the rematch of 2020.
Yep.
The bubble. It's the bubble rematch. Was it a fluke after all? I don't think so. This to me confirms that it wasn't a fluke. That these teams are really that good. You know, the four teams that remains, the four teams standing, they have made a loud noise. They have proven themselves.
Yeah.
And they are well deserving. And they have shown that they belong.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a hell of a Western Conference Finals and an Eastern Conference Finals. I like the matchups. I think both teams match up really well. I'm excited.
So am I. So am I. I'm definitely excited. I think it's going to be some great basketball in the conference finals, and we got four teams that got four dynamic duos: LeBron, AD, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So I'm here for it, Jonathan. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a great conference finals.
But first, before we get into the conference finals, we got to talk about what happened over the weekend with Ja Morant. Ja Morant is at the center of controversy again. He's back in the news again because of utter stupidity. And we talked about it before. If you want to eradicate the word stupidity, you got to stop making dumb decisions in life. And Ja Morant continues to make the same mistakes. I thought he learned from the last time. Apparently, he didn't learn. He didn't learn because he was seen on video once again doing the same damn thing that he was doing the last time. Only difference, change of scenery. This time he was in a car. Last time he was at a nightclub waving a gun.
Yeah.
Waving a gun. Now, I don't know if this man is doing this for attention, if he's doing this to look cute, if he's doing this to be funny, but like I said the other day in the video, you might have heard the video. You might have heard me rant about this. It's not cute. It's not cute. If anything, it's damaging. It's damaging. And it's only leading to self-destruction. If you don't get yourself together, if you don't pull yourself together, if you don't stop associating yourself with the wrong crowd, if you don't distance yourself from idiots, from buffoons, this is what's going to happen. Ja Morant needs to grow up. He needs to figure it out, and I mean fast. And he doesn't have much time. This man needs to get his life together. He needs to sit back this summer and chill out. That's not cute. I don't find anything funny or cute or anything that's going to make him successful by showing off a gun. I mean, what good is that doing you? You know, and what makes you do these type of things? Because look, we all know that Ja Morant is a very intelligent basketball player, right? He has the IQ of a basketball player. The dude has the mind.
Yeah.
of a superstar player. Memphis Grizzlies have put the ball in his hands. The ball bounces in his court because he is a cornerstone player on that team.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be the face of an organization, you have to be better than that. You have to make smart decisions. You can't make stupid choices in life. You're the face of the Memphis Grizzlies. You're the face of Powerade. Yeah. You have a signature shoe with Nike. You have all these great things going on for you. But if you continue to go down this path that you're going down, you're only going to make it harder on yourself, and you're going to ruin your public image. You're going to destroy your career. And that's what worries me with Ja Morant, is that he's going to destroy his NBA career by making foolish decisions. This is pathetic. This is unacceptable. This kind of behavior will lead to trouble. And I'm not sure if he has the guidance, or if he has, it's obvious that he lacks discipline.
Yeah.
That he doesn't have the morals, or that he doesn't have the maturity. And see, that's the thing right there, maturity. That's the key word. He lacks maturity. You know, and I would hate to see this young man destroy his NBA career behind something this stupid. Because this is really stupid. And yes, it had me upset because we pull for this young man to be great. We know how great of a player he is. We know how explosive he is when he's out there on the basketball court.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're making decisions that's going to hurt you. That's not going to do you any good. And Dylan just left a comment here saying, dude is a clown. Everybody wants to bring up whether or not what he did is illegal. The law has nothing to do with it. He's getting paid $231 million to follow a specific code of conduct. Absolutely. That part right there.
Yeah.
You're representing an organization.
Yeah.
And you are a role model. You are a role model. You are a public figure. Everyone is, if people are following your every move, you got to be smarter than this, bro. You got to make wise decisions. You got to watch the company you keep. And it's obvious to us. If you did this a second time, you're obviously not listening to those who are in your ear. You're obviously not listening. You're not paying attention to those who are out there looking out for you, who's giving you advice, who's trying to help you make the right decisions. You're the one with the Nike signature shoe. You're the one with the Powerade endorsement deal. You're the one with the $231 million. You're the one who is a cornerstone franchise player for the Memphis Grizzlies. Grow up, bro. Put your gun down and stop playing around with your gun. It's not cute.
Yeah.
It's gonna damage your NBA career. And that is the last thing you want. If you're Ja Morant. You've already cost yourself so much money the first time around.
Yeah.
And you obviously didn't learn from that because you're doing it again. You're doing it again. And for what? Why? So you can look like this tough dude? Do you need that much attention? Do you need the world to see that, hey, look at me. I'm a tough guy. Because you're not about that life, dude. I can see that you're not about that life. That's not your lifestyle. It might be the company you keep. It might be your entourage. It might be the people that you're associating yourself with. You need to reduce your circle, young man. You need to make it a smaller circle because obviously the people that you are associating with, the people that's in your life, they don't have your back, homie. I'm sorry. They don't have your back.
Yeah, and I agree with 1,000% with everything you just said, Jonathan. It's a lot to unpack there. But for me, Dylan actually spoke on something that I was gonna say as well. He said that he was talking about how people are talking about whether or not it's illegal. So let me be very, very clear about what I'm about to say, and I don't want anybody to take what I'm saying out of context. Just stay with me on what I'm saying, and you can let me know whether or not you agree with this. Um, I feel like considering John Morant is a young black African American athlete, and he is a star NBA player. He's the franchise player for the Memphis Grizzlies. Got a lot of money. I understand him maybe perhaps carrying a firearm. I get it. I understand it because when you are an individual who has a certain status, it's a certain lifestyle that comes with that, and you become a target. So I understand him having a firearm and why he may carry one. The man plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis is one of the most dangerous cities in America. They killed their own. Young Dolph, RIP to Young Dolph. They killed Young Dolph, and he's from Memphis. So I want to be very, very clear. I understand why Ja may carry around a firearm and wants to protect himself. Lord forbid if anything ever happens. With that being said, you are an NBA player. The NBA is a private organization, just like the NFL is a private organization. So even if you aren't breaking the law, you have to conduct yourself according to the code of conduct that the NBA has in place. And so my biggest issue with John Morant, Jonathan, is not so much that he has a firearm. My issue with John Morant is the fact that you went on IG Live and hit record. That's the dumbest thing he could have possibly done. Unlike everyone else, I don't know how everyone else feel. Maybe Dylan can chime in the comments. I don't have a problem with John Morant having a firearm. I have a problem with John Morant going live. That's the problem. Like, what are you doing? Like, you bringing unnecessary attention to yourself, and it's just flat out stupid. It's stupidity. And so this is also fresh off of in the immediate aftermath, Jonathan, of the Lakers beating the Grizzlies in the opening round of the playoffs in Game 6 in the post-game presser. John Morant, he said, and he took accountability, he said, in order for this team to get better, I have to make better decisions on the court and off the court. Not even 3 weeks later, you seen on an IG Live video and you flashing a gun, but you just spoke 2 weeks ago about how you are going to be a better leader on and off the court.
Like exactly. That is my problem. That's the problem that I have. You showed remorse. You seemed very contrite, but yet you go back and do the same thing again.
Yeah.
The same thing that got you in trouble the first time. And like Dustin says right here in the comments, John Morant is now facing a 1-year suspension. And you know what? I have no sympathy for him. If he gets a 1-year suspension, he deserves it. Because you know what? He brought it on himself.
Yeah.
He knows right from wrong. He's old enough. And I know a lot of people are saying that his dad has not been a great role model, that he needs his dad to guide him. John Morant's also a grown man. John Morant knows what he's doing.
Right.
He knows what he's doing.
Which is why, Jonathan, I also want to say too, I've seen so many people on the last couple of days, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I see people talking about how, John Morant needs to change his circle of friends and change the people that's around him. While that may be partially true, we can't keep blaming his friends and his circle. At some point, we got to hold John Morant accountable, which leads me to the NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies as an organization. I feel like 2 months ago, when he got into the situation that he got in March, that was a slap on the wrist. That was a slap on the wrist, Jonathan. They suspended him 8 games. They said he went to a counseling center in Florida. It's all BS.
What's that going to do? What's a counseling center going to do? Obviously, it didn't do enough.
Exactly. It was almost as if it was like the counseling and the suspension was smoke and mirrors. The issue never was resolved. They never resolved the issue back in March. But the NBA, let's be real, Jonathan, the NBA playoffs were around the corner, and the NBA wants viewership, and they wanted Ja Morant a part of the NBA playoffs. That's the reason why they didn't suspend him for the remaining of the season last year. He should have got suspended for the remainder of the season in March, but they gave him a slap on the wrist, and so the issue was never resolved. And that's the biggest reason why we sit here today in another situation where Morant has a gun in an IG Live video because the NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies did not discipline Ja Morant the necessary way the first time. That's the reason why we're here.
So it's fair to say that you could place some of the blame on the NBA for slapping him on the wrist, for basically enabling this type of nonsense.
Yes.
This type of behavior. It's very egregious. It's very humiliating. At least I would think it would be humiliating for a guy like Ja Morant.
Yeah.
But obviously he doesn't take this very seriously. And you know what? He's gonna have to probably learn the hard way. He's gonna probably do this again. Look, this guy has a bad history. This guy has there's been a string of incidents. You look back to the mall incident. That involved him and several of his friends that showed up to the mall and threatened to beat up a security guard. You look at that incident. You look at the incident where he punched a 17-year-old in the face. That is pending a lawsuit, I believe, if I'm correct. So this is not the first time that Ja Morant's been in the news for negative publicity. Yeah. He has put himself in a situation where he is getting in a lot of trouble. And when you're an NBA player, you have to make smarter decisions. You have to make some wise choices in life. You have to put your focus on basketball.
Yeah.
And I know this guy is very intelligent. The intellect is second to none because he's very intellectual, right? I mean, the guy is an explosive player. He brings the hyper athleticism. I can't say anything bad about his game because I have mad respect for his game. I respect the hell out of his game, and he's one of the best players in this league. He's one of the brightest superstars in this league. But he'll find himself out of this league if he doesn't, act accordingly. And if he doesn't change his lifestyle, because he's heading down the wrong path.
He really is.
He really is. He really is. And it will be a damn shame to see him ruin his NBA career and be out of the league because of something so stupid.
Agreed 1,000%.
Because of showing off a gun on social media.
Yeah.
For the whole world to see it.
And his whole punishment was he got suspended for 8 games. He was away from the team for 17 days. If you have a real issue, it's going to take longer than 17 days. Okay? Let's be honest about it. It's going to take longer than 17 days, but the issue was never resolved. It was never resolved. He got a slap on the wrist. They wanted him back for the NBA playoffs. But for me, Jonathan, at this point, I feel like someone in his family, someone in his inner circle, whether it's T. Morant, his father, and they say this reports about how, his father, while he did a great job raising Ja Morant, they say that his father is more like his friend than his actual father. Well, I need T. Morant to be a father right now, and I need him to sit Ja down and let him know you blowing this. You blowing this. You blowing the bag right now. Like, seriously. And that's what he needs right now. He needs guidance, and he needs his father to be a father. As a parent, I hate when I hear other parents say that they are their child's friend. No, I got 2 kids myself, Jonathan. I don't know if you know, I got 2 children. And my son will never be my friend. Okay. Yeah, my son will never be my friend. We're not friends. I'm your father. And so it's a certain level of respect that comes with when you around me. I don't care.
Boundaries. There's
boundaries. Yeah, I don't care how much money my son may make one day. When you around me, it's a certain level of respect that you got to have for me and other adults around us. So I don't know what the situation is. Obviously, Ja Morant has a lot of money, and so T. Morant and others who are in his circle and his family, they benefit from the fact that Ja Morant made it to the NBA and is making a lot of money. But at the same time, like if that's my child, if I have to reprimand you and discipline you and tell you about yourself, and if that comes to where you don't want to give me money anymore, or you don't want me to attend games front row, then I'll do that. I'm fine with my son cutting me off and not want to talk to me because I call him out about his BS. And that's exactly what T. Morant has to do right now. He got to sit Ja Morant down and let him know that he's messing up. He's messing up. And he's basically
treat him like your homie.
He's not your homie. Not, exactly.
He's not your boy. He's not one of your boys. He exactly. Is your son. There's a difference. There's a difference.
That's exactly
right.
And for me, Jonathan, I think the NBA they got to send a message to Ja Morant. They got to
think, definitely. They got to make a loud statement. They got to make a loud statement and ask, and it has to vibrate across the entire league. It really does. Because you know what? Does. You know what it is? They gotta use him as an example that this type of behavior will not be tolerated. It has to be a zero tolerance policy.
Yeah,
because Ja Morant is a role model, but not only is he a role. Let me say this real quick. He's not only a role model to a number of young kids who look up to him. He's also a role model to his daughter. Hello, you got a daughter, dude. You got a toddler.
Exactly.
That looks up to you.
Agreed.
So you gotta set positive examples for her as well.
Agreed, 1,000%. I agree 1,000%, Jonathan. And I just think that for honestly, because they gave him a slap on the wrist the first time, if you Ja Morant, you start feeling like you invincible. Oh, they gave me an 8-game suspension, sent me to a fake counseling session.
Yeah, well,
so Ja Morant probably what's been taken away from him? They enabled. And so he feel invincible. Like, oh, they're not gonna really do anything. They got to send a statement to Ja Morant, and they got to discipline him. And at this point, Jonathan, I'm okay with him being suspended for at least 40 games next year. Now, I wouldn't say the entire season, but half of the season. I'm okay with them suspending him half of the season next year. He got to understand he can this
cannot happen.
They can't have it in the NBA. They can't have it. And this is the thing too. One more thing before we transition to something else. When you look at around the NBA, you look at stars, right? We got a lot of European and like European stars, like a lot of players who aren't American who are stars. Joel Embiid, Giannis, Nikola Jokic, right?
Yeah.
But Ja Morant is the next American star who could be the face of the NBA once LeBron and Steph retires. Think about that for a second, because Zion, God bless him, but Zion can't stay healthy. So when you look around the landscape of the NBA, Jonathan, Ja Morant could be the face of the NBA, and he could be the best American player that we have in the sport that represents the NBA. So that's something else you have to keep in mind. Like once LeBron and Steph Curry retires, who's going to take over as being the American-born citizen that's the star of the NBA? It could be Ja Morant.
It could be. I mean, the guy is flashy. He's one of the top stars in this league. You know, we can't deny his talent. You know, I always say how good of a player he is. He just makes some dumb decisions in life, you know, and it has kind of bruised his reputation.
Yeah,
you know, and how people perceive this guy.
And remember, Jonathan,
that's all I said.
Yeah,
you know about it. But he got some decisions to make.
Yeah,
he got some growing up to do, and he has to fix this in a hurry. I mean, he's running out of time to fix this. He has to He has to learn.
Yeah.
He has to learn. At some point, you have to learn, and you have to stop playing this dangerous game. He's playing a this game is dangerous that he's playing. And like I said, if he keep messing around, he's gonna find himself out of his league. And the Memphis Grizzlies have already suspended him from all team activities. I expect Adam Silver and the NBA to levy a harsh punishment for Ja Morant. I think he'll be suspended for at least 50 games, if not 50 games, for the entire season. I can see that, and it'll be very unprecedented, but it'll be a suspension, and hopefully he learns from it. Before we make the transition, though, I want to read some of our comments here. Enzo, he says it's not just gonna damage his career, but his life and his future as a person. Yes, it is. It is. If he continues to go down this path, and if he continues to, show off his guns on social media and all that, that's not a good look at all. It's really not a good look at all. And Dylan, yes, he had an incident. It involved the team bus after the game. There were reports that I guess Ja or his dad or whoever it was with him, there was a gun or whatever. I don't know the whole entire story. I would have to go back and get a refresher on that. But I know there was an incident there as well. So, Ja Morant has a history. He really has a history. And Dustin also says Jonathan Morant lost his scholarship to Kentucky because of his actions in high school. There's a reason why he went to Murray State. His actions have always been a red flag. And now those red flags no longer are ignored. People pay close attention to it. People have taken heed to that.
Yeah.
And I'm not sitting here demonizing Ja Morant. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bad person because, yes, everyone has a good inside of them.
Yeah.
But this is a man who is only in his early 20s, and he's making decisions that in the long run is going to hurt him.
Yeah, and
these are life choices that is not going to benefit him.
Right.
And it's not going to end well for him if he continues to pull this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This guy is going to have to get better, do better.
And the thing is, Jonathan, like, what I don't understand is he's not really about that life. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. I said that the other day. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? You're not really about that life. And
that was my reaction. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Because, like, it's people out here who really are about that life. And so when you throwing up gang signs and throwing up putting guns in IG videos, there's people out there who are really about that life looking at y'all like, you really want to like come on this side? You really want to come on this side? Oh, like Jonathan, the man is an NBA star. He made it. You made it. It's guys and people who are in the streets, and they tell people like Ja Morant, me, you, people like us, hey, you don't want to be in the streets. Continue doing what you're doing. You made it to the NBA. Like, you are an NBA star. Me and you are aspiring sports journalists. I'm not ever going to the streets. I'm not about that life. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I ain't about that life either. I'll tell you straight up. I ain't about that life.
Me too. And I never fake and act like I am. So the thing is, he's doing this whole thing backwards. Like, you in the NBA now, like it's and again, guys who are really in the streets, like they don't encourage what Ja Morant is doing. No. If anything, they tell you to go the exact opposite of the route that they took. They tell you to go, you in the NBA, you doing your thing, you a star, like get everything you can out of that life, out of that lifestyle of being an NBA star. Like it's I just don't understand what the hell he's doing. And again, if he continues to go down this path, Jonathan, I'm afraid that something possibly bad could happen. I hope it don't. I pray it don't. But I'm just saying you can't continue to keep doing the things that he's doing. And then I'm hearing about how there are these different incidents that are taking place, and his family continues to call him to come to the rescue. You can't call Ja Morant to come to your rescue all the time. Ja Morant is an NBA star. You have to understand who you are calling. This is an NBA star who is the franchise player for the Memphis Grizzlies. You can't call Ja Morant to come and save you. I'm talking to people who are in his family and in his inner circle now. Like Ja Morant, like you can't have Ja Morant come save you. Like Ja Morant has too much. He has too much to lose. And so that's the problem too. It like we got Ja Morant, we got to hold him accountable, but we also got to hold accountable his family and friends as well. Like I said earlier, we got to hold him accountable because we can't say it's all his family and friends. We got to make sure we hold him accountable. But some stuff, we also got to hold his family accountable from the standpoint of them always calling him when they have a situation. They said his mom called him when she had the altercation with the young man at Finish Line. They said his sister called him when she had the altercation at the school. They can't call Ja Morant. He got too much to lose. That's how I look at it too. That's how I look at it.
Like you said too, he's trying too hard to be this fake gangster, and he's pretending to be tough. And like you said, he's not about that life. Stop trying to front and trying to be something you're not, dude. Because it's only gonna, destroy you. It's only going to ruin your image. And then people's gonna get this perception about you that you are a thug, because you got all these ignorant people out here who's gonna run with that, and they're gonna say, "Hey, this dude's a thug." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I hope that he starts to associate himself with the right people who's gonna protect him. I hope his dad comes forward as a man and stands up for his son and do his best to protect him.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to say, Jonathan, before we move on to the conference finals preview. I want to say this real quick. Remember at the end of the season, in the immediate aftermath of the Lakers beating the Grizzlies, because LeBron and AD, as soon as Ja Morant got bounced out the playoffs, a few days later, we heard from the Memphis Grizzlies about how they don't want to bring back Dillon Brooks under any circumstances, right? So they gave off the perception like Dillon Brooks was the problem. And I'm not saying that Dillon Brooks played well, because he didn't play well in the first round against the Lakers. He played awful. But Dillon Brooks is not your only issue, Memphis Grizzlies. You have an issue with your star player and Ja Morant and how he's carrying himself. So remember, as soon as the season was over, they wanted to pretend like, oh, we're going to just blame Dillon Brooks for everything. And again, Dillon Brooks didn't play well in the first round. But it ain't just Dillon Brooks who deserves some blame for why the Grizzlies underachieved this year. Some of that blame has to go on Memphis Grizzlies organization themselves and Ja Morant as their star player.
Yeah. And Ja Morant's gonna have to take accountability. I mean, like I said, he's a grown man. He know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he know what he's doing is not the norm.
Agreed.
But this is going to continue to be the norm if he doesn't get the proper guidance, and if he doesn't stop associating with the people he associate with. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of other players that do the same thing he's doing, or that have the same ideas that he have and behave in the public like he does. They just don't broadcast it on social media.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But now we're going to make the transition, man, because I want to talk about the Philadelphia Sixers, because that's another big story in the NBA, right? Everyone is talking about the Sixers and how they blew the series, how they had a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Doc Rivers Doc Rivers' team blows it again. You know, why is this such a freaking surprise? The Sixers are who they are. The Sixers are who I thought they were.
Yeah.
The team has a bunch of choke artists.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a lie. It's not a fabricated story. I like the Sixers too. I like Joel Embiid. I'll be honest. I'll tell you. I like Joel Embiid. I think he was well deserving of the MVP award this season. He earned it. He had the regular season numbers to show for it.
Agreed.
He definitely was a monster this season in the NBA. But where was he when the team needed him the most? What happened? What happened, Joel Embiid? You know what the problem is with Joel Embiid too? And this bugs the hell out of me with Joel Embiid. And I will tell you what it is. Joel Embiid pauses too much when he's on the floor. He hesitates when he's on the floor. And he takes a long time to shoot the damn basketball.
Yeah.
Shoot the basketball. Because what that's doing, that's killing the rhythm of the offense. By you're slowing down the pace for your team. You're killing the rhythm of the offense by pausing, hesitating, jerking a bit too much before you actually shoot. That's ridiculous, dude. You should be a dominant center. I'm so sick of today's NBA. I'm telling you, man, you got a bunch of 7-footers now. They are so soft.
Yeah.
Softer than Charmin, the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Okay? This guy did not answer the call when his team needed him to. Another guy, James Harden. James Harden, there's times where he go off in a serious, right? He has an offensive explosion. And then all of a sudden he reverts back to this player that looks like a complete bum. Or like,
yeah.
When you looked at him in game 7, he looked like a bona fide scrub.
Yeah.
Straight up. He looked like a bona fide scrub. Where was James Harden? And then now they're talking about, now the Houston Rockets are talking about signing him. I'm hearing that rumor. That's ludicrous. Why would you add him to a roster with a young core like that one? To me, that's going backwards.
Yeah.
For the dude, I mean, the dude choked as well. He vomited all over himself like he usually do in the postseason. And like I said before, the Sixers, and it was clearly in front of our eyes, the Sixers are not built for the playoffs. They're not built for the playoffs. And Doc Rivers is also to blame for this. Doc Rivers is another guy. You can cast the blame on him as well because Doc Rivers doesn't have a postseason resume. You look at his postseason resume and the numbers are just atrocious.
Yeah.
The numbers are atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe he's 0-8. I talked a little bit about it this morning. I had the stats in front of me. He's 0-8 in closeout games.
Yeah.
That's brutal, right?
Yeah.
I believe he is 6-9, if I have that number correct, in game 7s. He has blown 3-1 leads. His teams have blown 3-1 leads. So I mean, the man has ill fortune in the postseason. Great regular season coach, terrible postseason coach. He reminds you of a Marty Schottenheimer. Remember Marty Schottenheimer in football? Marty Schottenheimer would always get his team there, but they could never finish the job. He reminds you of a George Cole. He would get his team to the NBA conference finals or deep into the playoffs, but they would always fall short.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the same thing with Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers got to go. The Sixers got to show this man the door. But you know what's funny? I think they're going to bring him back. I honestly do.
Well, Jonathan, I want to hit a couple of things that you said, and I want to basically go down and dish out the blame for the Philadelphia 76ers collapse, because that's exactly what it was. I feel like the Philadelphia 76ers, the makeup of their team, Jonathan, was never a championship team to me. Like, I feel like James Harden is washed. I think like in game sevens now, James Harden, he averages 21 points per game on 36% shooting. I think he shoots like 22% from 3-point range. That's the worst 3-point field goal percentage in NBA history. So he's pathetic in these big time games. So James Harden was right on brand yesterday. There was nothing that happened yesterday that surprised me, Jonathan. James Harden is a choke artist. And in big moments, James Harden comes up small whenever you need him the most. When it matters the most, you can count on James Harden not stepping up and elevating his game. It happened in Houston when he was the member of the Houston Rockets, Jonathan. I remember one year the Rockets were playing against the Spurs and Kawhi Leonard was out. James Harden had a game 6 in Houston in his house, Jonathan, and the Spurs blew out the Rockets by 40. And I think Harden shot like 2 of 11 from the floor. He had like 9 or 11 points. It was something awful. So James Harden is on brand. This is what James Harden does. So I'm not really surprised about, James Harden's inability to perform well in big playoff games. And so I think that when you look at the Sixers moving forward, if I'm the Sixers, I'm allowing James Harden to walk. I'm allowing him to walk. And I told you that I like the Celtics because I'm a Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown fan. Watching this series, Jonathan, Tyrese Maxey scared me more than James Harden did. And I was happy that Doc Rivers kept allowing James Harden to run the offense because Tyrese Maxey, he put fear in me. I was petrified every time Maxey touched the basketball. And every time they gave the ball back to Harden, I was thinking like, yes, give Harden the ball. Because I don't trust Harden in big moments, and I don't expect him to deliver. So, Harden yesterday, him not performing well didn't surprise me. And B, moving forward, because Daryl Morey, he's the general manager for the Sixers. And him and Harden got a good relationship. And it was
right. Yeah.
It's reports out of Philadelphia a few months back about how James Harden will be trying to demand somewhere in the north of $50 million per year over the next few years. Daryl Morey would be a fool to give James Harden anything close to $50 million per year. I think James Harden is washed, and I believe that we have seen the best of James Harden in the past. The James Harden that was in Houston, that was an MVP player and one of the all-time greats, that James Harden as a player is dead and gone. He's not coming back. So I think the Sixers need to allow James Harden to walk. If he wants to go to Houston, allow him to go to Houston. Wherever the hell he wants to go, if I'm the Sixers, he can get the hell out of town. In fact, if I was Meek Mill or Kevin Hart, I would go to the Sixers facility and I would walk James Harden out. I would walk him out on my own. If I was Kevin Hart, if I was Will Smith, if I was Meek Mill or Gilly the Kid, I would walk him out myself. But I think that when it comes to Joel Embiid, did you know, Jonathan, that Joel Embiid is now 0-5 in the conference semifinals?
I did.
Did you know that he has never been to a conference finals?
I did.
He's 0-3 in game sevens in his career. He lost to Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors when the Raptors won the championship over the Warriors in the finals. He lost to Kawhi that year. He lost to Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks a few years ago as well in a game 7, and he loses again in a game 7. This time it came at the hands of the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum. And in game 7 yesterday, Jonathan, Joel Embiid was pathetic. He had, I think, 15 points, and 0 of 4 from 3-point range. I think shot 5 of 18 from the floor.
That was a gutless performance, gutless effort from the Sixers.
He was terrible. He was terrible. Jonathan,
that was awful.
Awful. And honestly, I picked Joel Embiid to win NBA MVP. And so I've been, arguing and debating with Nuggets fans and other people who believe that Jokic is better than Embiid all playoffs long. Today is not a day where I can make that argument because Embiid is on his way to summer vacation and the Joker is playing in the Western Conference Finals tomorrow. And the Joker, when he had a chance to slam the door shut on the Phoenix Suns, his team was up on the Suns by 30 at the half. Joel Embiid's team was down by damn near 30 against the Boston Celtics. So I think Joel Embiid deserves some blame as well. And I still think that Joel Embiid is the best player on the Philadelphia 76ers. But the problem with Joel Embiid is he has these moments in games, Jonathan, where he doesn't demand the basketball. In Game 6 in Philly, this is an opportunity for the Sixers to close out the Celtics. And I was watching the game, and I'm thinking, Celtics are in trouble. Remember, Jason Tatum was struggling in Game 6. And I'm thinking, man, they got the Celtics on the ropes here. And they could not deliver the knockout punch. And the knockout punch has to come from your star MVP center. And Joel Embiid did not get it done. But that's also a part of coaching, which leads me to Doc Rivers. Because in Game 6, there was possession after possession after possession where the Sixers didn't give Joel Embiid the basketball. If you Doc Rivers in that moment, you know what you got to do? And I'm not even a basketball coach. You know what I would have did? Timeout. Timeout. Hey, you need to get 21 the basketball. Hey, Joel, you need to demand the basketball every trip down the floor. Every time you need to demand the basketball. You are the MVP for a reason. And so
you got to demand the basketball, especially when you got James Harden on the floor over dribbling.
Exactly.
That slows down the pace. Not only does it slow down the pace, but then you don't move the ball consistently well. And that's what we've seen with the Sixers. They weren't moving the ball consistently well because they had a guard who is washed up now, who is not the most prolific scorer anymore, who's trying to do too much, and he over dribbles.
Yeah,
exactly. They're not feeding the ball to Joel Embiid. Look,
and that's the problem.
Look, let me say this. If that was Shaq playing against the Celtics, he would have ate them up. He would have completely dominated. That's what Joel Embiid should be doing. This guy's a 7-foot big man.
Exactly.
With a 20 size foot. I think his foot is like in the 20s.
Yeah.
Because that shoe, I think he's like 20 something in the size shoe. This dude is a freaking giant.
Jonathan, Game 6 was begging for Joel Embiid to take over. It was big. I thought the game was over. They were begging for Joel Embiid to take over. But again, that's also coaching, which is why I give Doc Rivers some blame as well. Doc Rivers, Jonathan, he's now 6-10 in Game 7s. He's lost 10 Game 7s in his career. That's the most in NBA history when it comes to head coaches. So Doc Rivers deserves some blame. And I thought that in this series, he didn't really make no adjustments. Like, I've seen Ty Lue, Steve Kerr, Eric Spoelstra. Hell, even in this series, Jonathan, Joe Mazzulla, he made an adjustment in Game 6. Remember, he started Robert Williams. Remember, they were going with Derek White, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Horford, and they were going small. But in Game 6, Mazzulla made an adjustment. He started Robert Williams, and they went big. And last year, when the Celtics went to the finals, that was the starting five for the Celtics. It was Marcus Smart, it was Jaylen Brown, it was Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams. So even Joe Mazzulla, as inexperienced as he is, he made an adjustment in this series. Doc Rivers didn't make any adjustment. He didn't make no adjustment. And we got to get Jason Tatum, my favorite player. We got to show him some love. Jason Tatum dropped 51 in Game 7 yesterday. That's the most points in a Game 7 in NBA history. You would have thought that when Doc Rivers saw Jason Tatum getting it going in the first half, you would have thought that he would have made some type of adjustment, Jonathan, at the half and say, we can't let that guy beat us. We can't let him beat us. So he made no adjustments. He deserves some blame as well. But I personally, though, Jonathan, I'm blaming the Sixers collapse more on James Harden and Joel Embiid than Doc Rivers. But Doc Rivers definitely deserves some blame. And another thing I'm gonna say, and I just mentioned it earlier, a blind man can see that James Harden is washed. I don't understand why Doc Rivers didn't give the ball to Tyrese Maxey more in this series. Because Maxey can make some things happen. I would have gave the ball to Tyrese Maxey, and I would have allowed him to be the playmaker for my basketball team.
To be the catalyst for the offense.
Exactly, exactly. But I believe that for the Philadelphia 76ers moving forward, I would allow James Harden to walk in free agency. But you know what I would try to do?
Rivers got to go. To me, I think you need a new voice in the locker room.
I don't know, Jonathan. I don't know.
This team needs some changes. I will say that.
But I think they
need to make some changes.
Personnel.
And look, I will say this too. Like Gene said, a fellow podcaster that I know, Gene does brilliant work, by the way. And I'm shouting him out again. I shouted him out in my video this morning. And like I said, Gene said yesterday on Facebook, on his Facebook post, that they need to blow things up in Philly.
Jonathan, they weren't good enough. I'm not saying. Hold on, Jonathan.
I get it. I get that they weren't good enough, but let me say this: Doc Rivers' futility in the playoffs has been simply astonishing, and now the era must come to an end following the latest postseason collapse. I mean, how many times you gonna give this man an opportunity to try to reverse the fortune and get this team to an NBA final? He's obviously not the guy that's gonna get you there. You need to go into a new direction. You need to look for a new head coach. And to me, Doc Rivers was never the right person for the job. And this listless, humiliating end to another promising season for the Sixers showed me that he is not the man for the job.
I hear you, and again, I believe that Doc Rivers probably will lose his job. I'm just not blaming him for the entire.
I get it.
Yeah. The entire collapse. And if I'm the Sixers, Jonathan, this is what I'm doing moving forward. If I'm the Sixers, I am getting on the phone with the Portland Trailblazers, and I'm asking them, what you want for Dame? Everybody's expendable except Joel Embiid, even Tyrese Maxey. I am trying to get my hands on Damian Lillard, and I'm trying to pair Dame time alongside Joel Embiid, and I believe that would make the Philadelphia 76ers serious contenders in the Eastern Conference. So I think you need to, again, whoever the Trailblazers want, if they want Tyrese Maxey, if they want Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, everyone is expendable except Joel Embiid. And I'm trying to bring Damian Lillard to the city of brotherly love and pair him up with Joel Embiid. I would love them as a dynamic duo because I think Damian Lillard, he is the exact opposite of James Harden. The exact opposite. James Harden shrinks in big games. Damian Lillard elevates his game in big games, Jonathan. So I think Damian Lillard and Joel Embiid would be a tremendous duo that could definitely compete for a championship in Philadelphia.
They could use a guy like Damian Lillard because I think the brighter the lights get, the more the Sixers shrink as a whole, and that much was evident.
Yeah,
I mean we saw that in this series, you know. But we spent some time on this topic. We're gonna move on. Before we do move on, though, I want to read some of the comments here. Dustin says, "Come on, John, and the Sixers have one choke artist." And his name is Doc. No, they have more than one choke artist. They have several choke artists on that team, and we saw it. We saw it in Game 7. Dylan, I lost all respect with the comments he had after the game about him and Harden not being able to do it all. PJ MF Tucker outscored Harden. Embiid dropped 15 in the game.
Yeah.
More comments here. Jonathan, how can he be 0-8 and close out games when he won 2 titles?
Jonathan,
Hey,
real quick.
You wanna address that question, or do you have something to say about that one before we move on?
I want to say something about James Harden real quick. Got a stat for you.
Well, here's another question. Look, according to Ramona Shelbourne, Harden is very interested in joining the Suns. Oh, he's chasing another championship ring, it seems. Well, he doesn't have a championship ring. He's chasing that elusive championship ring. Now he wants to jump on the Suns bandwagon and try his luck there, it seems.
Yeah, that's crazy. James Harden, Jonathan, in 5 out of the 7 games played in this Sixers Celtics series, James Harden had 4 field goals or less in 5 out of the 7 games played. So he was awful in this series, but I expected that from him. But it's just unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. Harden isn't washed. He just isn't a leader, a champion, nor is he clutch. He's proved that year after year. He's never won anything other than a meaningless MVP. Dylan, I disagree. Dylan,
he's washed. I agree with most of his statement. I just don't agree with the first part. He is washed. He isn't a leader.
He isn't, and
he's not a leader.
He's
clutch. That's true. He's not clutch.
He's not at all. But before we move on, Jonathan, I'm not sure what you want to talk about next, but we got to talk about Jason Tatum.
Well, we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it short next because I kind of want to shift gears. I want to ask you a question about the Warriors real quick.
Okay.
Dylan says I've argued Embiid over Joker the last 2 years. Today I feel embarrassed for even making that argument.
Facts, Dylan. Me too, Dylan. Me too.
Don says, should we reconsider doing the MVP until after the playoffs? No, because this is an award that is given to the player based on his performance during the regular season. So no.
Yeah. Agreed. But Dylan, I want Dylan to understand you ain't alone, my brother. I've been arguing about Embiid being better than the Joker for the last year and a half as well. Damian Lillard is linked to Chicago this summer, same agent as LaVine.
He is. Yeah, he is. That's interesting.
Yeah, but Dylan, I've been arguing that Embiid is better than the Joker as well, but you can't make that argument today. You can't make it today, man. But what you want to go to next?
My question to you about the Golden State Warriors. I have a question for you. I think this is an interesting discussion to be had. Did the Warriors dynasty come to an end following the loss to the Lakers?
I say no. I don't think their dynasty came to an end. I feel like when you have Steph Curry, who I believe is a top 5 player in the NBA currently, I feel like you still are a part of the championship conversation. I feel like the Warriors need to retool, not rebuild. I would bring back Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green played pretty good in the playoffs this year. He had a 20-point performance in Game 5 against the Lakers. I think he had a 20-point performance against the Kings in the first round as well. I still like his playmaking ability. I still think he is the heart and soul of the Warriors. He's not the defender that he once was, but he still can defend. He's still one of their best defenders on their team. I would bring Draymond Green back. I would tell Klay Thompson 2 things. A, do you want to be a part of this team? If he says yes, A, we need you to take a pay cut, Klay. Klay should take a pay cut. And B, I would consider, Jonathan, bringing Klay Thompson off the bench. I thought in the series against the Lakers, Klay Thompson was awful. I feel like he was the reason why the Lakers were able to win this series in 6 games. Because Klay Thompson, he didn't shoot well. And everyone was talking about how bad Jordan Poole was in this series. And Jordan Poole didn't play well. But for me, I don't have expectations for Jordan Poole the way that I have expectations for Klay Thompson. Because Klay Thompson is one of the greatest shooters in NBA history. And I've seen games, Jonathan, where Klay Thompson has shot the lights out and had the Warriors in a position to win playoff games. He has the nickname Game 6 Clay for a reason. But in this matchup against the Lakers, he was awful. He couldn't throw the basketball into the ocean. That's how bad it was for Klay Thompson, Jonathan. So if I'm the Warriors,
very inconsistent.
He was off. He was terrible. Besides game two excluded. But if I'm the Warriors, I'm asking Klay Thompson to A, take a pay cut, and B, take a diminished role and be a sixth man off the bench. So I'm gonna bring back Wiggins. I'm gonna bring back Andrew Wiggins. I feel like Andrew Wiggins is still a 3-and-D player that you need on your team. I would consider the market for Jonathan Kuminga, but I'm trading away Jordan Poole. I'm trading Jordan Poole, and I feel like the Lakers exposed the Warriors, Jonathan, and the Lakers exposed the Warriors' weakness because the Warriors don't have any size. They don't have any size, and when you're going up against an Anthony Davis or Nikola Jokic, you need size. So if I'm the Warriors, I would try to trade for a Julius Randle or a Karl Anthony Towns. I believe a Julius Randle or a Karl Anthony Towns would make the Warriors better because they'll have a threat in the low post and some size on their front line. They have no size in the front court. And that's the reason why Anthony Davis was able to dominate the series the way that he did. So if I'm the Warriors, those are the things I'm going to do. I'm going to bring Klay off the bench. I'm going to re-sign Draymond. I'm going to see what the market is going to look like for Jonathan Kuminga. But I'm trading Jordan Poole out of Golden State, and I'm going to try to bring in a Julius Randle or a Karl Anthony Towns.
I agree. If you keep this core together, they will be in conversation. They will be in conversation. And to me, Steph Curry is the heart and soul of the team. You know, it's. I think so.
I think Draymond Green is.
I think Draymond Green complements his game because of his ability to do it on both ends of the floor when he shows that he's capable of doing it on both ends of the floor. Yeah. There's times that you could disrespect Draymond Green's shot. You could pretty much leave him wide open and you know, hope that he misses. Because there's times that he misses a lot of shots. But I think Steph Curry is the heart and soul of the team because he's a pure marksman.
Question.
And he's that guy.
Do you define the heart and soul of the team as being the best player? Because I don't. Like to me, Marcus Smart is the heart and soul of the Celtics to me.
In this case, I think that just goes to Steph Curry.
I disagree. I think
without Steph Curry, the Warriors are over. They're done.
Yeah. For me, I don't define the best player as necessarily the heart and soul. Like on the Celtics, I think Jason Tatum obviously is the best player on the team. Some people think it's Jaylen Brown. But Marcus Smart is the heart and soul of the Celtics. To me, on the Warriors, Draymond Green is the heart and soul of the Warriors, but Steph Curry is clearly the best player. With Jordan's Bulls. Jordan was the best player on the Bulls, but you can make an argument that Dennis Rodman was the heart and soul of the Chicago Bulls. That's why they wouldn't got Dennis Rodman in Vegas. Remember, he was in Vegas, and Jordan had to go get him. He knows the importance of a Dennis Rodman. That's the role that Draymond Green plays on the Warriors.
I agree with Dustin here, too. Dustin says there is no way in hell Green is back. Per reports in California, Green killed the vibe with the team once he punched Poole. I can see that. There's a disconnect there. I can't see that.
I disagree with
He should have been gone then.
I disagree with Dustin.
Green back.
No, I disagree with Dustin. Dustin, I respect where you're coming from, but to me, it was clear in these playoffs that Draymond Green is more valuable than a Jordan Poole is. Yes, Draymond was wrong for punching Jordan Poole. But Jordan Poole was pathetic. He was pathetic. So I don't. God. Yeah, he was awful. Like so,
he underperformed.
Like, are you gonna move on from Draymond because of the punch on Jordan Poole, or are you going to move on from Draymond because of how he performed in the playoffs? Because if it's about performance, Draymond Green, I thought, performed well. I don't think Draymond played bad in the playoffs. Jordan Poole played bad in the playoffs, but Draymond Green didn't play bad in the playoffs. So I think you can make an argument that Draymond Green did kill the vibe around the Warriors at the beginning of the season. That's probably why they were so terrible on the road. On the road this year, Jonathan, they were 11-30. They were awful on the road. But I feel like he performed well in the playoffs, and he is a part of the trio with Steph and with Clay. Just like the Spurs, they had their trio with Parker and Ginobili and Duncan. The Bulls had Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. The Warriors have Steph, Clay, and Draymond. So he said you can move on from Green because the team doesn't want or respect him anymore. I don't know about that, Dustin. I disagree. I know that him punching Jordan Poole was significant and it hurt their team. But I'm not moving off of Draymond. I'm sorry. I think Draymond performed well in the playoffs. I'm moving off of Jordan Poole. I might move off of Jonathan Kuminga. They didn't really give Kuminga much minutes in the playoffs anyway.
You could probably trade Jordan Poole.
Exactly.
You can get some value for Jordan Poole.
Absolutely. But again, if I'm the Warriors, I'm calling the Knicks. Hey, how you feel about giving us Julius Randle for Jordan Poole? I don't know. I would run it by him, or even maybe the Timberwolves, Minnesota. Hey, how you feel about giving us Karl-Anthony Towns for Jordan Poole? Karl-Anthony, and in Minnesota, it would be Jordan Poole and Anthony Edwards, and then Jordan Poole could also learn a lot from Mike Conley. Listen to the Curry interview. Curry basically said it's Green or me. Yeah.
Well. We'll have to wait and see what happens. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I don't think Green will be back though in Golden State. I think he'll be someplace else by the time next season rolls around.
I disagree. I think Draymond Green will be back.
I don't know, but if you keep the Splash Brothers together, you keep Andre Wiggins there, you're going to be in conversation. The Warriors are still going to be in contention. That's the way I see it. But let's move on. Let's get to the main event. Let's get to the main topics of this show tonight. And that is the Western and Eastern Conference. And let's not try to spend too much time on this because we want to wrap this show up as soon as we can. It's getting late. I know it's getting late for you in Cincinnati. It's getting late here for me on the West Coast as well. So let's start with what do you want to start with first?
Let's start off with the Western Conference. We got the 7 seed LA Lakers taking on the number 1 seed in the West in the Denver Nuggets. Game 1 is tomorrow night in Denver, 8:30 p.m. start time, Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. A rematch from the bubble a few years ago. So, Jonathan, what are your expectations for this series between the Lakers and the Nuggets?
Well, I like the Lakers' chances. I think they have, improved their odds to win the series, but they're going to have to play much better than the Nuggets, obviously. They're going to have to be able to match their level of play. Yeah. They're going to have to be able to outsmart them. They're going to have to outplay them. They're going to have to out-hustle them because the Nuggets are a very good team. Now, this Nuggets team you cannot sleep on. I felt like the Nuggets got some disrespect, even though they were a number 1 seed. People didn't treat this team like a number 1 seed. They didn't take them very seriously, and they showed everybody, hey, look, we belong. We earned the number 1 seed, and we're not backing down. We're going to play our best game. We're going to play our best basketball. And they did. They're a scary team. This is a team, if you're the Lakers, this is a team you don't want to face, really. This is a challenging Nuggets team. And mind you, it's the rematch of the bubble Western Conference Finals from 3 years ago. So keep that in mind as well. The Nuggets are looking to get revenge against the Los Angeles Lakers, and this is their chance. The Nuggets are exceptionally well coached. They have the best big man in the game, arguably, in Jokic. Here's the marquee matchup for me. Jokic versus Anthony Davis. I think if Anthony Davis comes out aggressive and if he is assertive, I think he can be a challenge for Jokic. I think he can have his way against Jokic. I really think that he can bully Jokic. Now, that's not to take anything away from Jokic because Jokic, he's the man, right? Without Jokic, Denver doesn't reach the Western Conference Finals. Jokic has had a monster year as well. Jokic has proven time and time again that he can carry his team with limited talent. We saw what he did in the season we saw what he did without Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. We saw how he dragged that team to the playoffs basically as a lone wolf. So I mean, I'm not going to sit here and disrespect Jokic because that would be irresponsible, that would be lazy, and that would be downright absurd to do such a thing. But I will say that if the Lakers come out early, if they strike early, if they get to the free throw line, if they are able to play defense, lock up Murray, I think you're going to see LeBron or Murray. If they come out, strong, and if they play with a level of physicality, the Lakers can be a tough out.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying this being a biased Laker fan. I think the Lakers have a chance to win this series. Now, it's not going to be a short series. It's going to be a long series. The Lakers are in for a dogfight with the Warriors. I mean, with the Nuggets. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Don't think this is going to be a series where they just come in and beat the Nuggets. It's not going to be like that. It's not a cakewalk. They're not just going to come in and take the Nuggets out in 5 games or 4 games or in the gentleman's sweep. That's not happening. If you think that's happening, you haven't watched much basketball this season.
Agreed. And so for me, Jonathan, I'm listening to a lot of Laker fans on social media talk about the expectations for this series, and they keep comparing this series to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble. And I keep having to remind Laker fans that what happened in the bubble is different than what's going to happen in this series. It's a lot that's different than the bubble. One of the things that's different is the Joker is a better player now than what he was in the bubble. In the bubble, Jonathan, Nikola Jokic, he averaged 22 points per game on 53% shooting from the floor. This year in the playoffs, Jonathan, he's averaging 31 points per game on 55% shooting from the floor right now. And in the bubble, Anthony Davis outplayed the Joker. And the Lakers went on to win the NBA Finals. And Anthony Davis captured his first NBA championship. And at the time, I said Anthony Davis is the best big man in the game. A lot has changed since then. Giannis has won an NBA championship. The Joker has won back-to-back NBA MVPs. And so right now, currently, the Joker is a better player than Anthony Davis is. But Anthony Davis is Nikola Jokic's kryptonite. Does that make sense? Like, the Joker is a better player, but his kryptonite is Anthony Davis. And unlike DeAndre Ayton, Anthony Davis is going to make Nikola Jokic work on the defensive end of the floor. And the one weakness in Nikola Jokic's game is he's not great on the defensive end of the floor. He's not as great as Embiid or Giannis. He gets exposed a lot, especially in pick and roll situations. Honestly, Jonathan, Jokic is a liability defensively. So he's going to have to work defensively in this series against Anthony Davis. So that's one thing I'm looking at in this matchup. Another thing that's different, though, in the bubble, the Lakers had bodies that they could throw at Nikola Jokic. They had Dwight Howard. They had JaVale McGee. They don't have that personnel anymore. They got Wayne Gabriel on their bench. And Wayne Gabriel, he would get eaten alive by Nikola Jokic. So that's also another difference in this series compared to what it was in the bubble. But I also feel like in this series, Jonathan, LeBron James is going to have to take over offensively. In the series against the Warriors, the Lakers had the advantage with Anthony Davis because the Warriors don't have much size. In this series, LeBron is going to have to win his matchup and take advantage of Aaron Gordon, because I think the Nuggets and Michael Malone, they're going to put Aaron Gordon on LeBron James. So I think LeBron's going to have to score more because Anthony Davis is going to be occupied with Jokic and having to stop him. Like Anthony Davis is going to have to consume a lot of energy defensively. So LeBron has to carry it home for the Lakers offensively. But when I look at the two teams, Jonathan, I think the Nuggets are better offensively than the Lakers are. But the Lakers are better defensively. And so it's going to be interesting to see which team can impose their will. Will the Nuggets be able to impose their will offensively, or will the Lakers be able to impose their will defensively? The one thing about the Lakers I will say, I've doubted the Lakers all postseason long. I'm not doubting the Lakers anymore because the Lakers, what they have is they have timely breakout performances from their role players, Jonathan. Whether it's Austin Reeves, whether it's Dennis Schroeder, whether it's D'Angelo Russell, whether it's Lonnie Walker in Game 4 against the Warriors, they have timely breakout performances from their role players, and that's the reason why they're in the Western Conference Finals. And the Nuggets, they got role players like Michael Porter, like Aaron Gordon, like Contavious Caldwell Pope, former Laker, Bruce Brown. They're going to be dependent upon to deliver for the Nuggets. Because let's just assume that LeBron and AD cancel out Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. It's going to come down to which team role players performs the best in this series.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the bench and the role players. I think it's going to come down to that. It's going to come down to Anthony Davis, too. Again, I know that we talk about Anthony Davis a lot in these playoffs, but he's got to be the main character for the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, he's got to set the table for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think if he plays well, everyone else will follow. And that would be tough for the Denver Nuggets. And it would be a tough defensive assignment for Jokic. I'm going to read some of the comments here that we have. Dustin says he called the Heat in the finals 2 weeks ago. Look back at comments. I do remember you saying that, Dustin. Sharon has chimed in. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for watching the show. The Joker is the best. She also says Nugs in 5.
Wow.
She said Gordon and Porter on LeBron, and I'll be watching for the flopping. Sharon, it seems like she knows her stuff.
Jonathan, I want to tell you this real quick. In the conference finals, they play every other day. I think that benefits the Nuggets more than the Lakers. Do you agree or disagree?
I do. I think that does benefit them more. You got to remember, too, Jokic is younger. This is a team that can control the pace. They could speed things up. They got guys that can accelerate to the basket. And you remember what I told you. I think when you watch a guy like Jokic and you see how he plays, he's a big man, right? He's a center. That's his position. But he's not your traditional center. He plays like a guard. He's doing everything. He's getting out in the fast break. He's getting out in transition. He's making plays. He's also a creator. He could create for his teammates, which is very impressive for a guy of his size. You got Porter.
Yeah.
This Nuggets team is deep.
I think Nikola Jokic is the best passing big man in NBA history. We've never seen anyone be able to pass the way that Jokic can pass. Like, and Jonathan, his passes are accurate. They are accurate right
He's
on.
he's a playmaker.
He's a playmaker. But let's get to it, Jonathan. Give me your prediction. Give me your prediction for who represents the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. Who you got? Lakers or Nuggets? And how many games?
The Lakers have been on a roll. It seems like they turned their season around at the right time. They couldn't have found a more appropriate time to start playing great basketball. I think they have developed that chemistry. They have found that cohesiveness. And I think it will continue in this series. I think they have that continuity. They have that togetherness. And they have a pretty good defense that can slow down a team like the Nuggets. So I would say that this will be a long series, and I say the Lakers in 7. And I'm not only saying that because I'm a Laker fan. I just broke it down to you guys why I think the Lakers have a shot.
I agree, Jonathan. I have the same prediction. As great as the Nuggets have been this year, and they have been great, as great as Nikola Jokic is as their best player, and as great as Jamal Murray is, I believe that this series will go 7 games, and it's going to come down to LeBron versus AD versus Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic. I trust LeBron and AD a little bit more, so I'm rolling with the Lakers in 7 over the Nuggets. So I got the Lakers in the NBA Finals. And I've been betting against the Lakers all postseason long, Jonathan. I ain't gonna keep doing it. Okay, I've counted the Lakers out. I've said that time and time again that they are not championship contenders. They continue to prove me wrong. So I ain't gonna keep counting out the Lakers. Lakers are going to be in the NBA Finals representing the Western Conference. So I got Lakers in 7.
Not a bad prediction. Not a bad prediction at all. Now let's move on to our final topic of the night, and that is the Eastern Conference Finals. We're going to break this one down. We're going to analyze this one, and we're going to give our predictions for the Heat and the Celtics. Now the Heat, they're back in the Eastern Conference Finals. They were there 3 years ago. This is a rematch of the 2020 NBA Finals. The last time these two teams met, the Heat knocked off the Celtics in that series. The Heat have Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, we all know how well he performs in the playoffs. And this is a man who's hobbled and battered, and he still finds a way to make an impact for his team. He still, finds a way to put the ball in the basket, even though he's beat up, injured. I don't know how he does it, but this is a guy who just turns up the heat in the playoffs. This time around, I think the Celtics are more mature. They're wiser. Joe Mazzulla hasn't done that bad of a job, even though he's gotten some criticism because of the team's defense. It's not what it was a year ago. Their defense hasn't been as fierce, as physical, as superb as it was a year ago.
Yeah.
But their offense is still good. They have Jason Tatum, one of the best scorers in the league, and he showed up when he needed to. He took over. He had an impressive first half in Game 7 against the Sixers on Sunday, on Mother's Day. We saw him score 25 points. I mean, this guy erupted in the first half. And that's what they needed to see from Jason Tatum, because the thing with Jason Tatum was that he had been getting off to slow starts in games. You got Jaylen Brown, you got Marcus Smart, who you said is the heart and soul of the Celtics. I just think the Celtics are a more balanced team. I think they're deep. I think they have a lot of size. I think they have a lot of depth. They have veterans. They have the star power. And I just think that they'll be a little bit too much for Miami this time around.
Yeah, I agree with you in your conclusion. But when it comes to the Miami Heat, Jonathan, I got to show some love to Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat organization. I'm
Dustin says Heat in 6.
Dustin is wrong.
Sharon says Celtics in 6.
Yeah, Dustin is wrong. Miami Heat will not win this series in 6 games. They won't win this series at all. But when it comes to the Miami Heat, Jonathan, I can't say enough about the job that Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, what they have been able to do with this Miami Heat team that is not as talented as the Boston Celtics are. They're not as talented as the Denver Nuggets or even the LA Lakers are. If you look at all 4 teams remaining in their rosters, top to bottom, the Heat they don't have much talent on their roster, Jonathan. Caleb Martin, you know, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent. These are not talented players. But what Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley, what they do a great job of is they do a great job at player development, Jonathan. They do a great job at player development and they maximize your abilities as a basketball player. And they get all the squeeze out of the juice that they can get. They getting as much juice out of the squeeze that they can get. Like the Miami Heat are like the Cinderella of the NBA playoffs right now. You know, we have Cinderellas in college basketball. The Miami Heat are the Cinderellas of the NBA playoffs right now. And think about this for a second.
Yeah, they always that team that defies the odds.
Yeah, it defies the odds. But think about this for a second. They lost the first play-in matchup against the Hawks, so they were facing elimination. And in the last 5 minutes against the Chicago Bulls, they were trailing in that game before Jimmy Butler completely took over the game. So I tip my cap to Eric Spoelstra. He is the best coach in the NBA, Jonathan. As great as Steve Kerr is, Steve Kerr has Steph Curry. He has Klay Thompson. As great as Ty Lue is, he has Kawhi Leonard whenever he decides to play. He has Paul George, okay? Eric Spoelstra has Jimmy Butler and a bunch of role players. There is no Tyler Hero. There is no Victor Oladipo. They are both injured. And here the Miami Heat are in the Eastern Conference Finals again. So they have a tremendous culture. And I think Jimmy Butler fits perfectly in their culture, Jonathan. He's the perfect player in that Miami Heat culture. And so the Miami Heat, they've done a great job getting to the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. They beat Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks in the opening round. Remember in the first round against the Bucks had double-digit leads going into the fourth quarter of Game 4 and Game 5. And the Miami Heat won both Game 4 and Game 5. And Game 4, I think that's the game where Jimmy Butler had like 56 points. Cinderella, my ass. Spoelstra has the third best postseason winning percentage of all time. Oh, yeah, we know how great Eric Spoelstra is, Dustin, but they are...
That's the thing. We were just talking about the Miami Heat have a winning culture, right? And how they develop talent. Yeah. And that Pat Riley has an eye for talent because they evaluate their players. And they do a very good job scouting. A lot of their players are undrafted free agents.
Yeah, but whether Dustin wants to admit it or not, they are a Cinderella team. They have overachieved. Them getting to the Eastern Conference Finals they overachieved this year. They were struggling during the regular season. But when it comes to the Boston Celtics, Jonathan, obviously Jason Tatum is their best player. Depending on who you ask, some people believe it's Jaylen Brown. I believe that Jaylen Brown sets the tone for the Celtics, and Jason Tatum plays better. He plays better as the game goes along, and he's the closer for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, he takes some time to get going.
He takes some time.
Yeah, you're right.
And Jaylen Brown comes out firing right out the gate. But I think that Jason Tatum has to do a better job of getting off to better starts. And I'm interested to see what lineup Joe Mazzulla uses against the Miami Heat. Against Joel Embiid, he went big. He brought in Robert Williams, and he sent Derek White to the bench. In this series, I think they're going to go small, Jonathan. I think they're going to bring back Derek White. They're going to start Derek White, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Al Horford. And if Al Horford can hit perimeter shots, that would bring Bam Adebayo away from the rim, and that would open up driving lanes for Tatum and Brown. Al Horford didn't shoot well against the Sixers. He has to shoot better against the Miami Heat in order for the Celtics to win this series. But I think the Celtics have the more talented basketball team. I think the Celtics have the more deeper basketball team, and I think the Celtics have more of a all around team, top to bottom, than the Miami Heat have, and they have more star power with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But they can't.
They have two exceptional wing players.
Yeah, two exceptional wing players. They can't take the Miami Heat lightly, though. They got to take the Heat serious. And we know the Celtics have a habit, Jonathan,
to play down to their competition.
That's why
they do that too often.
And Jonathan, that's why I got it going 6 games. Because the Celtics really should beat the Heat in 5 games.
I was just gonna ask you how many games.
I got Celtics in 6, but wouldn't you agree that the Celtics should beat the Heat in 5, right? They should beat them in 5, honestly. But I know that they're going to give away at least 1 game.
They gave away 2. They gave away 3 to the Sixers.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. I wouldn't be surprised if both the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference go 7 games. So I'm going to say 7. I'm going to say Celtics in 7.
Same as last year.
I think we will get a rematch of the 2010 NBA Finals. I think we will get the latest installment of the Celtics-Lakers rivalry. And I think the ratings will go through the roof.
Why? So do I. I got the Lakers and Celtics in the finals as well. But you got the same repeat as last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. You got the Celtics beating the Heat in Game 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's I got Celtics in 6. I got Lakers in 7 over the Nuggets. So I got Lakers Celtics finals.
I think both of these series go deep. They won't be short series. There won't be any gentleman's sweep. None of that.
The Celtics should gentlemen sweep the Heat, though. They should, right? Don't you agree? They should.
There's going to be games where they play down to their competition. There's going to be games where their offense looks flat, where their offense comes out and not play well.
Agreed.
And sometimes the Celtics, when you watch them, they look like they give up on themselves. You know, the offense looks a bit stagnant. Their defense lets up, and you got the opposing team basically getting any shot they want. We've seen that with the Celtics, and we know Jimmy Butler can go off. I can see Jimmy Butler having a 50-point performance against the Celtics.
Yeah, and you're right about that, because last year under Ime Udoka, they were a better defensive basketball team.
Right.
This, for whatever reason, under Joe Mazzulla, all they want to do is just jack up threes. That's what they do. They want to jack up threes, and they want to outscore you instead of getting defensive stops. I thought they did a good job in the fourth quarter of Game 6 against the Sixers. They held the Sixers to only 13 points in Game 6 in the fourth quarter. But the last few games, they played better defense. But other than that, they've been subpar and average on defense at best. But I think in this series, going up against Jimmy Butler and the shooters that the Miami Heat have, the Celtics are going to have to play some defense. But I just think the Celtics got too much firepower for the Miami Heat. And even though the Heat have a significant advantage from a head coaching standpoint, because Eric Spoelstra is a way better coach than Joe Mazzulla is, I think the Celtics and the talent gap that they have over the Miami Heat will offset the inexperience and the gap in the head coaching with Spoelstra over Mazzulla. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think the Celtics have the advantage from a talent standpoint. The Heat have the advantage from a head coaching standpoint. But I think the Celtics, their talent will offset the Heat's advantage from a head coaching standpoint.
Yeah, I can see that as well. But my man, we had another great show.
Yeah.
It's been awesome chatting with you for the last hour and 30 minutes. I mean, we went over an hour tonight. We had a lot of topics to get to. It was another great episode. And thank you to all our viewers out there. Thank you to everyone who chimed in. We really appreciate it. It's great hearing from you guys. And if you guys have any comments, questions, or concern, you guys are more than welcome to leave your comments and your thoughts. And I would like to get back to him. You can also send your thoughts and questions to Trey, and we would love to get back to you. But guys, it's been a great show, another great episode of Speaking with Judgment with me and my guy Trey. And we'll see you guys most likely tomorrow. Trey, you want to do another show tomorrow, or
I can do something tomorrow and recap.
yeah, we'll probably
Recap.
do something tomorrow. Recap
Recap game.
of
Yeah.
the Lakers and Nuggets game one. We'll probably recap that. So we'll probably be back tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on YouTube. This show also streams live on YouTube, and this show also streams live right here from the Sports Judge fan page as well. So thank you guys so much once again. We're wrapping it up, fellas and ladies, and we will see you guys when we see you again. For myself and Trey, you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys are watching this from YouTube. And also, don't forget to hit the like and follow button on the Sports Judge fan page. And Trey, before you get out of here, tell them where they can find you before we get out of here.
You can find me at WiseGuys_H, also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And go on your podcast app on your phone. You can check out the Wise Guys Sports Podcast tonight, literally tonight on YouTube. Go and search Wise Guys Sports. I did my Eastern Conference Finals preview, Western Conference Finals preview. Reacted to the Ja Morant news, and I talked about the Golden State Warriors and my expectations for them moving forward. So go ahead and check out the Wise Guys Sports page on YouTube and the Wise Guys_OH on Twitter and on IG and all social media platforms.
Good stuff, my man. Good stuff. Sounds like you're doing your thing over there. But good night, everyone. Take care. Thanks for watching this show, and we'll see you guys next time for another episode of The Sports Judge. You guys take care. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night.